Hello, my name is Jean Bourjoufa, and in this video I would like to present you a simple planning solution using Microsoft Excel. Often people working with various software have the question how could they have a simple reporting solution where planned values could be compared with some actual values. I came across planning questions very often in my work, so I would like here to teach you a solution. For example, let's say you have an ERP system from which you can extract actual sales values, but your ERP system is lacking planning functionality, and you still would like to compare the actual sales data with some planned values. You plan some sales per region, and you would like to see how those regions perform against the plan. Let's assume your ERP system is closed, custom development cannot be done on it, but you can export data from it into an Excel file. Or you have a time tracking system where you know how much your team works on a product or a project, but you would like to see how is this actual time consumption compared with the initial estimate. Are you ahead or behind the schedule? And your time tracking system does not provide this capability. I'm sure there are many questions like this. The solution I will present here can answer these kind of questions with only basic Excel knowledge. So if you are familiar with Excel, I will teach you how can you create a simple and comprehensive report that will answer questions like I mentioned before. In this video, I will show you a lot of information. I recommend you that you redo what you see in the video by yourself, starting and stopping the video as many times as needed. If you encounter any difficulty or questions, do not hesitate to post a comment below this video. I try to answer it as soon as possible. So, let's see what do you need in order to set up this solution. First of all, you need Microsoft Excel. In this sample, I use Excel 2010, but the solution I present here works with any Excel version. Secondly, you need the data source for your actual data. This can be a connection to your ERP database or a different Excel file that you export from your software every day, or a CSV file, let's say, automatically generated by your IT department on a regular basis. In my current example, I've used a connection to a Microsoft SQL database, where I prepared for this application a database view with my actual data. And as knowledge, you will need just basic Excel knowledge. The sample I will create here is about collecting data from a time tracking system, data about how many hours were spent on different projects in each month, and we will compare those values with some planned values. We would like to see which projects are in budget and which ones are over the budget or just in danger to go over the budget. The same concept can be applied for accounting, sales, purchases, inventory, just in any business area where you spot some planning or comparison task where you need to compare two different values from regarding the same business information. Let's discuss about the concept. So we will take data from two data sources. Actual values we take from the productive system, and some planning values we will take from an Excel sheet. So I have the actual data extracted from a productive software's database and some planning values which I type into Excel. Now I need to combine together these two data by using a key. We will determine a key to match the data from the two sources. This is the most important part of the project, to determine this key, how to bind together the data from the two sources. Using this key, we will link together the data in a table, and on top of this table, we will create a pivot table where we will visualize the data. In the pivot table, we will format the data in a way to be easier to spot the differences between the actuals and the planned values. Now that we went through the concept, let's get our hands dirty and create the planning solution. So the steps would be, the first step would be to bring into the file the planned values. For this, we will create a new sheet called plan. We will introduce here the planning data. We will make a table out of this planning data with a certain name, and we will create a special column which we will call the key column, and this key column will be calculated based on a formula. So now let's open an Excel document. We create a sheet called plan. Now I already have some data prepared in a text file for this the purpose of this demo. Notice that the month has a leading 0, so I have the months from 2 digits here, and therefore when I paste it to Excel, if I want to keep this leading 0, I need to go to the column where I will paste this data, and this column I need to format as text. So I will paste it as text and not as number, because then when I paste, it will delete the leading 0. So I take all the data from here, copy, and paste it into Excel. You see that I have the leading 0. After the paste, with the selection, I go and I format it as a table. My table has headers, and I say OK. Now in the design and table name, in this input field, I will say plan data. So this will be the name of my table. And the last step for the planning data would be to create a column. We will call this plan key. And the formula for this column would be to concatenate the project name. Then we put a dash. Then we put the year, and then we put the month. So this is how my project key would look like, the plan key, sorry. And what is important here, that this plan key should be unique in the table, so should exist only one time. We will see this later, why is this important. And this key will be used to bind together the actuals with the planned values. About the formula, don't worry, you can pause the video and you can copy out from the video, or I will provide these files for download later. The next step in our exercise is to bring in the actual values. The actual values we will load in a separate sheet. The data will be loaded from a database view, but as data source here you can have another Excel file or another sheet from the same Excel file, or you can have an XML file or CSV or all kind of databases. And you need to prepare the data in this data source before. If you have any questions about preparing this data, just type in below this video in the comments area, and I try to provide you some additional help on how to prepare the data. For the purpose of this demo, we will use an SQL Server database, and because the data I use is already prepared there. And what is very important about these database connections is that the data is refreshable through the connection. So when I will want to see the data, let's say for the next month or also the next period of time, I just need to push a refresh button and the data will be automatically loaded in the same file. The key column that I use for matching the data between the plan and the actual is already created in the database, in this database view, so I don't need to create like for the plan values in Excel. So let's go to Excel. We create a new sheet, we call it actual, and then we position ourselves on the cell A1. We go to the data tab, we go from other sources, from SQL Server, my server name, then I need to give some authentication information. I connect to the server, I select my database, then I will select the view that I prepared previously to load the data, and I push finish. I say yes, and place it as a table on the existing worksheet in A1. Again, the authentication information, and the data is here. Notice that the first column is the key, is the key column that I created also in the previous table for the plan values. Now I go here and I rename my table. I say actual data, and I go here and I select the whole table, and I will give this style just to look the same as the plan data. In this moment I have the planned values here with this plan key column, and the actual with this column. Now we will bind together the data from the planning and the actuals table. For this purpose we will use the VLOOKUP function. VLOOKUP function will search for the key from the planning table in the actual table and will retrieve the corresponding actual value into the planning table. It is very important that we link the actuals into the plan table and not the other way around, because if there are gaps in one of the tables in the planning table, let's say, then the actual values will not be considered, and the content of the planning table we can control. We know we can upfront we can fill all the combination with projects and months, and then for this corresponding combination we will bring the actual value, and if there is no actual value, then a 0 will be placed there. So let's see how we construct this. We create here a new column, we call it actual, and we use the following formula. We say VLOOKUP search for this value in the actual sheet, and I go in upper left corner and I select my table, which is called actual data. Then after you search, please return the 1, 2, 3, 4th column and make the comparison to be an exact match. So I type false. This is my formula. As you can see, now where a combination for project and a year and month was found in the actuals table, the value was brought here. Where I have not available means that I have no such value in the actuals table, meaning that for project 1 in 2013 month July there were no actuals. Maybe there was no time booked on this project on that month. So to make this a bit nicer, I will use here another function which is called if error, and I will say here that if there is an error, then just place 0 there. Now the two tables are together, so I have in the same table the project, the year, the month, the planned value, and the actual value. Now we will analyze the data that we gathered in this table from the planning sheet. So I select my my table, then I go to insert, then pivot table, and on a new worksheet I will insert a new pivot table. I will analyze my data per year and per month. I would like to see how much was the estimate and how much was the actual. Then I would like to define here a new calculation, a new calculated field that I will call diff, and the diff will be computed as estimated minus actual. And I would like to see the difference as well. Let's go on the first cell on the pivot table, on design, and apply the same style as for the other tables we had. We select here banded rows. Let's change the name of this value field, and let's call it estimate. Then let's change the name of this one and let's call it actual. And the third one, let's call it difference. Okay. Now this is the global picture, but what I would like here to have, I would like to have it per project. So I will drag in the project here to the columns. So now I have the same numbers by broken down per project. Project 1, estimate actual difference. Project 2, estimate actual difference. Now, if I have the difference a positive one, this means that the actual was smaller than the estimate. It means my project is on track. If the difference is the negative one, it means that I consume more time on my project than I was estimating. And in order to visualize this, let's say first, if I want to analyze just 3 projects, like these 3 or 4, then I can filter it from here. Then if I would like to visualize this difference nicer, then I can go on the top of the difference column until I have this vertical arrow. I select the difference column, I go on the home tab, and I say conditional formatting, data bars, and use this one. And this formatting actually now shows me beside the number shows a small bar that if it's red it's a negative one, if it's green is a positive one. So it gives you a better visualization of the deviation from the planning. Actually these totals I can remove, and then I have here just these 3 projects. So this would be a nice analysis view of the data I have. Now, if I would like to present this data in a different way, then I can take the project name and bring it here. Then I have per project the same visualization on a different presentation. Now the question that comes, what will happen in the next month? So in the next month, we need to plan the next month. This means that I will copy all my data from here. So everything that is month 11, I copy, I place it here, and I correct this to 12 because it's next month. And I fill here the new planning. So what is the planning for the next month? I fill the planning values. The actuals are coming from the productive system. For this, I just need to push the refresh button and the new actuals will come. So I have plans updated, actuals updated, then I need to go on my pivot table, right click and refresh. And the next month, the data for the next month will appear here. So this would be the analysis of our data. Using the solution presented here, you can link together using Excel basically any data from two different data sources if you can define the link key between the two data sets, and you can analyze the data. We had here the planning data, and we had the key created by us using the concatenate function, and we had the data loaded from our database where the key was created in the database. So using the key, we could link the data together and analyze it. Using this very powerful technique, you can create solutions that might be missing from the applications you use in your business. To recap the most important steps in the demo, we created the planning data. We loaded the actuals from a source where easily can be refreshed on a periodical basis. We define a common key between the two datasets. Then we link together the two datasets using the VLOOKUP function. We need to take care that one of the tables should have no gaps, because if there are gaps, some other values from the other table might be missing. Then you create your pivot table and format it as you like, and periodically you extend the planning and reload the actuals. If you save the file on a different file name, then you will have a complete history of this reporting solution. If you have questions about this tutorial, use the comment area below and post your questions. Send your opinion or problem related to a similar topic in the comments area, and I will try to answer them as fast as possible. Additionally, you can visit my website for more interesting articles on similar topics on this URL. On the URL below, you can download the files that I use in this tutorial. So you can take the file I used here and play with it and change the data if you need. Feel free to just use it. And if you would like to be notified about future videos or future information on similar topic, then subscribe to this YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I enjoyed a lot doing it, and have fun playing with Excel.